Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Once again, spotlight on Salem roars to life from the luxurious confines of Capital Community Media. Super excited. Today in the studio we have with us rockers, the Folly. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Let's do some introductions. We'll start with you.
Thank you for having me. I'm Joe Kyle.
Yeah, my name is Riley Worrell.
I'm Tyler Swedberg. I'm on the bass.
I'm Danny. I'm on the drums.
Awesome. So how long have you guys been together as the Folly?
I think in one form or another we've been as a group for probably like 10 years, I think, now at this
Pretty
point.
close, yeah.
So you've had members come and go.
Yeah, Riley and I are the founding members of the Folly. He actually started out on drums. We had some turnover and he went to bass guitar, and now he's graduated up to electric guitar, backup vocals. So yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. You jack of all trades then.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Master of none.
So then how did you guys get into the band? How did that happen?
I was playing some drums and stuff on live on Instagram, and my buddy, he sent me, I think he kind of sent a message to Joe. He's like, hey, check out this guy. And that was like about 3 years ago. And so, yeah.
Wow.
And yourself?
Yeah, I actually, I finally decided I was ready to get back into music after I moved to Salem, and he had just happened to post something on Craigslist, and it would just happen to be the right wheelhouse, all the kind of music I'm into. And after the first practice, you want to join? Yep.
Yeah, you guys are a pretty tight unit on stage.
Yeah.
So that's very cool.
Thanks.
Thank
Got to catch your set at the Salem Drop. That was really cool.
Oh,
Right
That
on.
was Joy. So yeah.
Thank you.
So how did you come up with the name The Folly? It's an interesting choice of band name.
I think I forced it upon the group at the time. That was one of my harebrained ideas. I think I actually had a Fat Tire beer coaster that said "Follow Your Folly," and I looked up what folly meant, and there's an architectural context, and then there's the poor investment, which is the other, or foolish act.
Yeah.
And that's kind of labeled it perfectly, so it kind of stuck.
So it kind of stuck
yeah.
after that. Very cool. Very cool. So I really like your guys' sound. I like the dual guitar attack that you guys incorporate, which now is interesting that you started out on drums and you moved to guitar. How difficult was that for you guys to come up with that? It's kind of a signature to your sound. How difficult was that?
I've always liked that sound of the dual guitars, so I kind of forced that. I was like, we should do some of these, guitar harmonies and stuff, and one of the bands that when I was a little kid that did that all the time was like the Scorpions.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they've got like a lot of songs with that dual guitar, and I'm just like, that sounds so cool.
Yeah.
So that was part of the inspiration for that. I just think it sounds neat, and I don't think a lot of people do that very much.
No, not
anymore. So
no, but a lot of the great ones did. Thin Lizzy, Allman
yeah.
Brothers. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah,
bands that
that's
incorporate that sound,
definitely.
it's a unique signature sound. So yeah, you guys are really tight live. How often do you guys have to rehearse to keep that fresh?
Like once a week,
Yeah.
just go for it.
Yeah, it's once a week. Usually, this last month, people have been vacationing and had stuff going on, and it can be difficult to get everybody in the same room at the same time. Everybody's got lives and, and different things going on and stuff. So, but ideally once a week. Sometimes squeeze in a second one or squeeze in a couple hours to record something. But
Yeah, so that's a big time commitment right there. You guys seem to be gigging a lot too.
Yeah, we try to keep it once a month, but me just kind of being the ADHD, or like, we got to do that one too. It kind of turns
having
into
a hard
more-
time saying no.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I don't say no very often. So.
Great. So who comes up with most of the songs? Is it a collaborative effort? Does one person in charge of the lyrics, or does it?
I think most of the backlog of material that I kind of brought to the Folly when it was originally formed were like fragments of like lyrics and chords and riffs and stuff, but I don't think they were actually solidified until the other band members got in and put in their parts and wrote the changes and arrangements and stuff like that. So some of the meat and potatoes are mine, but from past songs, But I think now as a group we're more writing together and even writing lyrics and riffs together in real time.
So
now.
people throw out an idea and
Yeah.
then you duke it out with
Yeah,
them.
It's definitely collaborative.
Yeah.
In that regard, we all kind of like add our own little flourishes and stuff to the riffs, and
Yeah, close enough to feel what we'll be playing here in a second. Is Tyler wrote pretty much the main riff of the song, the arrangement, and then we just kind of all add our parts and like wrote our parts into what he had presented. So
Very cool. So you guys have got a couple of CDs out right now. The main Folly release, you got a live one, some other things out there.
Yep, the Bandcamp page, the Folly 503 or Folly Music Bandcamp page, so.
Yeah, are you guys on Spotify as well too?
I think we were at some
Starting to
point.
trickle.
Yeah, I think there's might be one or two on there, but we're sticking to the Bandcamp page because it's kind of easily accessible and not having to do the payment plan to get in there and like the releases and stuff. But I think anything moving forward will go with like the DistroKid, so we'll be on Spotify and YouTube and iTunes and all that. So
Very
like a
cool.
package?
Yeah, because the more you can access the music,
Right.
Everybody has different formats that they want
Right.
to go through. Apple Music's a good one to get into too. A lot of people are doing that now
Yeah.
as well too. So
It's good to know.
very cool. I really like the artwork that you guys have been coming up with on your promotions. Who's responsible for that?
That's all Joe.
well, I think the owl was conceptualized by you and I think some of the other previous members.
And we had hired an artist at one point year before.
Midnight's Gallery. She had an art
What's her name,
expose.
Sarah?
Sarah, from Midnight's. She was
Yeah.
actually doing an art display at the Salem Art Association at Bush Park. So we kind of what is the word, consigned her or
Commissioned her
commissioned
to
her to do the art piece. We kind of were involved in the creation process, like whiteboarding things. But then some of the show flyers I've been doing as of late, just myself. So
They're very cool. I
you.
think that's it's a good advantage when you have just flyers that seem cool when you see it, because it kind of helps. Like, oh hey,
it's such a necessity to do all the other stuff besides the music. Is just an animal that I've been trying to chip away at for a lot of years.
And it's still hard to get people to come to shows, especially after. I mean, it seemed like there was a big turning point. During COVID and stuff in 2020, and it seems like even when everybody was going back out, it seemed like just dead.
Yeah. It's a shame because
hard to get
everything
people to
was
go out.
just really, really happening in Salem until the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember weekends where you were struggling, like, oh man, who am I going to go see tonight? There's like 3 bands I want to see
Tuesdays
tonight.
were
and-
like that sometimes.
yeah, and then
it
it's like,
was-
well, maybe I'll catch this band's first set and race across the bridge and catch another set, and try and do as much as you can. And now a lot of times you're struggling to find things.
Yeah, and we've got all the venues to thank too for that. We've got the Bad Space, we've
Yeah,
got the
but-
Salem Drop has had us do some stuff. The Brew in Independence where we'll play tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
They were in West Salem there for a while, so
Yeah.
we really appreciate the venues that are willing to support the live music scene. People like you, Mike, that are about the music and about the community and about the scene. So we really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, I love doing this show because it's a great way for me to meet the bands and get you guys out there and promote it. And then you've got videos
Yeah,
of your own.
it's
You
a
can
great
use those as
service.
calling cards. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. So do you guys have, speaking of the Salem Drop though, by the way, I know we've talked about doing a standalone episode on that, but that's super cool. People that haven't been there yet should definitely go and check out the Salem Drop. I know some people might be like, oh, but it's an all ages, there's no alcohol, but it's a really welcoming environment. You guys have a great stage there. Did you construct the stage, you guys? or-
Well, we kind of rearranged. It was a computer lab at first, and they had the small stage up in front. So that's on State Street down here downtown at 246 State Street, and it's a nonprofit run by Youth Era. But I was kind of in the pandemic between a lot of gigs, and I had some free time, and my ideas are always kind of going, and I can't stop moving. So I'm like keeping myself busy, whatever I'm doing. But I walked in and they didn't have much more than like a karaoke machine with kind of a microphone. I'm like, oh, this place needs music.
Yeah.
Because, obviously we're all musicians and we know like what music does for your personality and for your mental health and just empowerment in general. So I coordinated with Alberto, which is the manager of the Salem Drop, and we kind of constructed the music and facilitated some donations of the backline gear and the sound system and stuff. And then there was that big computer lab on the right hand side. I'm like, that is a perfect stage. It's got
Yeah.
power.
Yeah,
It's
it's
right
got everything
front
you
and
need.
center. And in fact, we played a show on the smaller stage, and it was probably about the square footage of this little area. So
Yeah.
we were all cramped. So
Yeah,
they
it wasn't
were
easy.
Yeah, they're gracious enough to allow us to come in and allow myself to help out there and do the music and expand the stage, and it's really turned into a great thing.
Yeah.
It's more gratifying than playing a show at like a dive bar or something, and like I'm actually seeing some of the youth form their bands there and like move
Yeah.
on.
That's
We're
got to be
actually-
really
yeah,
cool
yeah.
to see that come to fruition,
It
and that you spearheaded that. So hats off to you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank you.
much for
Appreciate
doing
it.
that. Because I'll tell you, when I was young, I wish there would have been something like this.
Same.
In
Absolutely,
Salem, I mean that
absolutely, yeah.
I would have just been encamped there. So that's very cool. So do you guys have any plans going forward to record another CD? Do you got new songs you're putting together?
Yeah, I think we've invested in some modest studio gear, so we've kind of got the home recording studio. We're working on one now. We're kind of probably going to go single at a time, because the bandwidth of people to listen to a whole album, and I don't think we're quite there on the production yet. We just don't have the finances as a band to walk into a studio and just do a whole EP or LP. So I think the climate right now is we're just going to do single by single every few months, and we're working on our first one currently. So we're still in the process.
Cool. And then take those singles and combine it into a
Yeah,
Possibly
standalone.
later
Yeah.
on,
I think that's a solid plan. Plus, it gives people something a little bit every few months and keeps the interest going.
Yeah, and I think the CDs are kind of dying out, and it's hard to gauge because we'll go to a show and they'll be like, oh, I don't even have a CD player.
Right.
And then we'll go to shows and they'll be like, where's your CDs? And we're like, we can't win.
Yeah, you're going to have a combination
Yeah.
and maybe just do digital downloads that
Yeah.
people can.
And I would really love to do vinyl one day. So maybe one day we'll get enough, capital together to go in and do a studio session and put it out on vinyl and then do a CD eventually. So that's kind of on my back burner as well as a few other things.
The vinyl is a tough one to get going and
Yeah.
finding somewhere to get it pressed and everything. But it is cool when you can buy album from local bands.
Yeah, and the artwork is and the visuals are
Exactly.
such a big part of, I think, our image and what we like to see. And so that vinyl, or even just a CD case where you can flip it out and look at the imagery, I think that just lends to the music. It kind of puts you in that headspace to enjoy the music. a little
Yeah,
bit
because
more.
back in the day when everybody was buying albums, album art covers were sometimes just extremely phenomenal, detailed artwork or photos that are just iconic that people remember to this day. And when you went to the CD, it kind of shrunk down and you're having to look at this little thing. And now with the digital download, you kind of miss that. Because I like reading liner notes. I'm a bit of a geek, but...
Well, and another thing is it allows for a little bit extra collaboration, too, with other local artists.
Yeah.
Because we're not like graphic artists at all, so it's allowing us to collaborate with other local artists because there's so much talent in Salem, music-wise, and art, and cooking, and everything. So it's like a concentration of talent, and that just kind of allows us to collaborate with other people and showcase other talents, too. And I think that's kind of part of my motivation as a band is to kind of rising tide lifts all boats and be in the community, be a contributing member, and it just allows
That's
for that
that's a
collaboration.
very interesting point because Salem is it seems like a really inclusive community and there's a lot of cross pollination between different people and people are interconnecting through their projects and people seem really supportive. So good on you guys for doing that. Are you guys thinking about doing a tour at any point or just
we had an RV.
hitting other cities up and down
hit up Seattle.
I-5 corridor?
Yeah, I think that's in the cards again. Being kind of a small-time local band, the capital isn't always there to like finance tours and stuff. But I just got an RV with the family, so maybe I can convince the wife to let us do a couple of nights on the road. But yeah, I think that's definitely on the list of things that we'd like to do. But trying to get the planning together and the coordination has been a bit challenging.
Oh, I'm sure,
We
yeah.
had talked about possibly like Northern California and Oregon coast,
Yeah.
or Seattle, Tacoma.
Yeah.
Some,
I think-
Yeah,
down
down I-5 corridor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just about networking, finding people, and and getting the word out would be very cool.
Yeah, and we'd also want to do with like other local bands too. So I think that's another
Yeah.
aspect. There's a lot to it, you know. Just
Oh,
besides
yeah.
writing the material and performing it, there's just so much other stuff.
It's a job
Yeah.
unto itself, but I mean a labor of love.
Absolutely.
As opposed to punching a time clock
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
you like dreading it. So big
Sometimes
difference there.
practices are like that.
Sometimes.
But we won't name names.
Yeah. Joe.
Oh man. So tell me about Joe Kyle Entertainment, because you been kind of instrumental in getting things booked, and that's pretty interesting. How did that come about?
Well, in 2009 and 10, I was in a band called KTR. We had some festivals that we were doing. We kind of wanted to play shows, but there wasn't really any show that we could get into, and that we aligned with what we wanted to do. So we kind of formed an LLC under KTR Entertainment, and put on a few shows at the Kaiser Amphitheater.
Oh yeah.
We actually had a bigger one at the amphitheater there, and we called it the Rock Fest or Kaiser Rock Fest or whatever. And at that time, 101 KUFO rock station on the radio was around, and they apparently copyrighted the Rockfest name. So we got a call from their attorney, and they were pretty adamant that we either did not use the Rockfest name, but we had all our periodicals, or they would come in and partner with us and bring the T-shirt guns and all that. So we opted for the latter.
Oh, yeah.
We were like, instead of
Yeah.
the litigation, I think we'll just go ahead and have you
Yeah.
guys join us. And that was
Free
a big
T-shirts. That's
eye-opener.
yeah.
I miss KUFO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss having KUFO. And then it was replaced with political talk radio, which is like the unkindest cut of all. You know, the 101.1 is,
The complete
Yeah,
antithesis.
so that dissolved. That company and the band dissolved. We formed the Folly, and I kind of just started doing open mic nights and facilitating smaller shows, and I've kind of just stuck with it over the last 5-10 years. So that's kind of where the Joe Kyle Entertainment.
Yeah,
I kind of
no,
feel
it's
like
very
Step
cool, though,
Brothers
'cause
was
you're-
like prestige worldwide. Yeah. So I'm like, God, I saw that movie and I was just like, oh, that's me. But it's like you said, it's a labor of love, and I like to keep busy, and
You are
kind of an idea guy
exceptionally
to-
busy. I'm constantly seeing things on social media and the Joe Kyle Entertainment. But very cool. I really appreciate you putting on the shows at Salem Drop, and I'm going to be sure to check out some more of those
Appreciate it.
in the future.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
great avenue. Well, hey, this has been great, but what do you say we go play some music now?
I think so.
do it.
Yeah,
You
let's
guys
do
ready?
it. I'm excited.
All right, let's do it.
Again, thank you, Mike, so much for having us.
And I will go
All right, that's it for this episode of Spotlight on Salem. Thank you so much, The Folly, for being here. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.